What's up, Facebook family? This is Kari Azuma, and thank you for joining me on my third and final day of my Feminine Leadership Series. I have Allison Ramsey here today. Unfortunately, BeLive didn't care to work today, so I'm going to be inviting on Allison right now. Allison, invite is sent. So, yeah, I look forward to seeing you guys on here today. Hold on, just getting back to my computer. And, all right. Allison wants to join. Here she goes. What's up, Allison? Come join me. And let's see who else we have on here. Hey, what's up, Erin? Thanks for joining. Okay, Allison, just let me know when that invitation's working. All right, there she comes.
Hi, can you see me? It's good.
Yes, I see you. Thank you so much for rolling with us today. Oh man, this has been such a funny day.
Right?
One of those days where everything that was supposed to go a certain way did not go that way. Which is such a beautiful lesson for feminine leadership, because that's what I call going with the flow. The good old go with the flow, baby.
Amen. That's exactly correct. Yeah, even for me here, I'm in a restaurant that one of my best friends in this area and I were eating at, and then we were going to go to try to find a place to get set up. And then the manager gave us this little private nook and room to get set up. So, yeah, again, like going with the flow, like, yes, I will love to receive this room and I would love to be here in this private space. And then like a different Wi-Fi. So he gave me a different Wi-Fi. He's like, you're going to need a strong connection. Like, yes, of course I am. Thank you. Right? Like
Cool.
Receiving and then not being so stressed about going to another area. Hi, Excella. That's one of my good friends that just joined us. Thank you for the likes.
Hi, Ingrid, Natalie, Ali, Charisse. We have some great people on with us right now. What's up, guys?
Not being stressed about going to another place. I feel so grateful for that right now.
That's awesome. That's a beautiful start to this conversation, because one of the things that you're bringing into the conversation today is all about like, how, really believing in things that are bigger than you, supporting your journey, and like really playing a big role in that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Allison, you are so my last two guests I know pretty well, but you are someone in my life, and I've been really like digging, getting to know you and seeing what you're up to. But why don't you just introduce yourself? Let the ladies know what you're up to. You are a mom, and you do run a business, so tell us a bit about that.
Sure, yeah, and hi Ingrid, hi Natalie, before I get started. So I'm Allison Ramsey. I'm the founder of Empire Life. We are a conscious tech company that helps entrepreneurs to launch online empires. And we have clients from all around the world. We also have a podcast, the Empire Life podcast, where we interview entrepreneurs and founders, and we hope to have you on soon as well. About their areas of improvement, how they navigate through the world of entrepreneurship and in a super conscious and healthy way. That's really important to us. And yeah, hi, Rekha. And then, yes, I'm also a mom. I tried my best to raise my daughter with a lot of tolerance and patience and conscious parenting. I'm all about the co-parenting, attachment parenting. I'm super protective, and I never want to let her go, though, with that, to do anything. And then it's crazy that with that mentality, her teachers tell me she's fiercely independent. So it's very counterintuitive that I'm like, I'm going to hold you as long as I possibly can. And then she's also, at the same time, fiercely independent, because I feel she's always felt like she's really safe. She's safe to go. She's like, you already taught me enough, Mom. I'm good now. I'm cool to go on my own. I know I'm safe. I know how to set my own limits. You can let go. So she's the one telling me to let go most of the time. That she's got this.
And how do you handle that?
You're gonna do this, right? You're gonna look both ways when you cross the street. You're gonna hold your friend's hand. You guys are gonna stay together. She's like, yeah, okay. Like, I'm good. But I handle it like breathing and letting go. I've taught her everything she needs to know. She's safe. She's protected.
Nice. Oh, it's beautiful. Yeah, it's really funny. Just so you guys know, by the way, this is kombucha, not wine.
Oh, it looks
Just so you
perfect.
guys don't think I'm drinking on the job.
That's fine. I had a glass of wine from the manager with my friend. He convinced us earlier.
Oh, nice. Hey, I'm not hating at all. If I was drinking wine, I'm like the biggest lightweight. If I was drinking wine in this conversation right now, it wouldn't be pretty. I'm alcohol and me, I'm very sensitive. So anyway, this is really cool because I just had a couple of other women on. One is a mom in process, is pregnant.
Yeah.
And the other one has a 4-year-old. And how old is your daughter?
10.
10.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cool. So we're really running the spectrum here.
For real.
And I think what really, one of the things that I really feel passionate about, that I really brought into the conversation, but haven't really laid into yet fully, is just how much motherhood really plays a role in how I'm a feminine leader. That doesn't mean you have to have kids to be a feminine leader, but it definitely has taught. I mean, I am more productive, more centered, more conscious as a business person now that I have my son. And I also feel like there's also these challenges that come with it that I really had to restructure how I hold my leadership. I used to be this person who was like, I'm a leader, I'm committed. If I say yes, I'm there no matter what. I hold my boundaries. If there's something's wrong, I go out and do whatever I need to do to deal with that. I was very I was very much my masculine, which is cool. I love my masculine side. It's super fun and it's very productive and efficient. But one thing I realized is that I didn't have the freedom anymore to just go out and do the things that I needed to do right when I did them. And I would love to hear from you because you're running your whole business and you're a mom. And I want to hear from you about what has your journey been in your leadership? How has it evolved? What are the phases that you've been through, starting from the beginning? That's something I'm really curious to hear more about from you.
Yeah, Kari, I love that question, and thank you for sharing with all of us too about part of your journey. I love hearing about your journey as well. So this is my third company, and what I learned, so my first company I started when my daughter was 1. I think she was around 1, or she wasn't even 1 yet. So she was she started walking, or I would say running at 8 months. She's very like me, like a daredevil and very physically active. She was keeping me very busy even at that age. And for me, part of my process was learning to always be emphasizing to her that we are a team. That's a huge part of everything I do, and letting her know, okay, yes, I want to talk to you right now. I really want to listen to you. Mommy needs to do this and this. And after I finish this, I'm not good. I would like to say I'm good at multitasking, and it's been proven that most of us really suck at it. And we're if we try to multitask, it's almost like we do task like a drunken case. So yeah. I'm very, with the research, the scientific research, so I'm very clear with her. I'm best if I focus all my attention on this, and this is what is fair. This person that I'm focusing all my attention on, this is fair to them, and I'm doing them justice. And it's not fair to you if I stop what I'm doing or I try to halfway do both of them, because I've learned that I need and I want, my desire is to be all present in what I'm doing, no matter what it is that I'm doing. I'm talking to you, I'm all present talking to you. And that's the best way that you get the most emphasis out of your business, your personal life, your relationships. So teaching her also to respect that, I guess, that limit or that boundary, that I want to listen to you. I need about 2 minutes right now, and then I'm giving you my full attention. Yeah. And there's really no negotiation in that, that she started to learn. And this is my mom being professional. I fully respect what she's doing. And of course, there was some learning curves along the way. A few times, I remember one time I was on the phone with a client when she was about 1, and she ate half of the bag of cookies while I was on the phone with the client. And I was like, wow, why is she so quiet? You know, that's when you know the disaster's happening, right? When it's so quiet. I got up.
Like,
I get off, yeah, too quiet. I get off the phone and then I see that she ate all the cookies. I'm like, I guess this is not a complete disaster, but you really can't do things that I don't allow you to do normally just because I'm on the phone. So I guess another huge point on that topic is always being open to having those vulnerable conversations with her. That this is not like horrible that you did this, but I don't really, like, something worse might happen in the future. I may come in and she drew all over the walls. Like, who knows? If I didn't have that conversation right then, you ate all these cookies. It's not really the best that you ate all these cookies. You know that I didn't allow that. When, oh, hi, Rekka. Okay, no worries. Thank you. So, like, you didn't know, you knew that I wouldn't, I guess, pay attention. So you did something somewhat defiant while I was on the phone with the client. And then that leads to more stress for me. So always reiterating that what we're doing, we're constantly affecting each other, either in a positive way or a negative way. And I would prefer it to be in a positive way. I would prefer that we're a team, and then showing her and guiding her on how we are a team. And right now I am managing a team, and it comes to be, it's similar when you're managing a team too. You're always teaching and guiding them, modeling, or like Alexi said on you guys' interview yesterday, that leaders always go first. So we're the ones that are modeling first are that behavior. Would that answer your question?
I kind of love what you said. Yeah, no, it's great. I love what you said around, like, this is so good for mothers to hear, is like when you have a child and you're running a business, is to really like bring that child in. This sounds a little bit corporate, but like to bring that child in as one of your partners. Like you got to treat them like they're one of your partners in the business. They get equal shares. They get equal time. They get, probably more, of course. I never want to like say that my child's a business. I don't treat him like that.
Of course.
And I don't think any moms really do. But, I really, like, I'm learning from you in this moment because my son's still 2. And I know that I don't have the language yet with him to really make those negotiations, but I still look forward. I appreciate that modeling because I look forward to really have him see me as a human that has something out in the world that I'm up to. And one of my biggest fears is that he'll resent me for that. But I think that's part of like being a mom and being a leader out in the world is like you have to trust. This is where something bigger than you comes in, right? Like you have to trust something bigger that you're being called to, and that you're answering the call, and that call is so important for your life, your vitality, your happiness, your ability to give your gift, that your child eventually will see, oh wow, like my mom was a change maker, my mom took risks. She wasn't always there. Like, I never hear kids whose moms, like, did epic shit. I never hear kids go, like, oh, my mom did epic things in the world, but, like, I really hate it. I think I'm sure that could happen if they weren't conscious about, being present with their kids. But this is the time I hear, oh, man, my mom wasn't always there, but I really look up to her. I really admire what she did. That's how I feel about my mom. My mom was
That's amazing. So, I love that about your mom. My mom, I didn't necessarily see the same that example. So this is also a whole nother level and layer for me that it's like, oh, I'm creating all of this. So all of this is very new for me. How do I want to create this? How do I want to raise her? So I'm very fortunate and grateful that you have somewhat of a design to look towards. And for me in my life, I needed to look outside, I guess, of my family and try to find or just see, well, what's really important to me? What are my core desires here? And then design around those. Yeah. And a huge thing that came up for me when you were talking about, or even like our second company, I think my daughter was 5, and she saw a lot of late nights because I was a co-founder of a tech company before this company, she know, like, I had to keep reminding myself this is really great for her because eventually she probably will be an entrepreneur too. And even though she sees I'm tired, she sees all the hard work that goes into it, she gets to kind of the behind the scenes. So eventually she will have an edge or an advantage. She may not see it every day now, but eventually she will see it. And another story I wanted to share with you, there was one time we were driving in the car, and are you able to hear me okay? I'm not breaking up or anything? Okay, cool.
It's a little fuzzy, but it's working.
Okay, cool. I can hear you really good. We were driving in the car, and I've had a lot of bouts exactly like the same as what you're saying, because we lived abroad at some times. I needed to be away from her, unfortunately, for about a month when we were packing up and moving back from living abroad. I've been away from her about a month when I was speaking at an event. So I completely relate to what you're saying. And it kind of all came together in this experience when I think she was 6, so she was in 1st grade. And we were riding in the car, she was in the back seat, and she was like, yeah, oh, by the way, I didn't tell you about do you know the standardized test? Are you able to hear me okay?
Yeah.
Do you know about the standardized test? The standardized test that they take in school? And sometimes there's like a writing portion. I didn't even know that there was a writing portion in 1st or 2nd grade. But she was like, yeah, I forgot to tell you. So she's telling me in this very nonchalant kind of way while I'm driving, right? And I was driving, and she said, yeah, there was this portion on the last standardized test that I took at school. And the prompt question was, who is your hero? And then we had to write like 4 paragraphs, and I was like, oh, that's cool. Okay, like, who did you write about? And I was imagining, like, Michael Jordan or Maya Angelou, or like all these things were coming to my head. And she's like, well, you. It's like, okay, I'm not going to freak out right now. I'm not going to freak out because I'm driving, and I don't want to be dramatic because I tend to be really dramatic sometimes. But I just started crying and crying, and I'm like, oh, really? Oh my God, really, really? And I just started crying and crying while I was driving. I'm like, well, really?
I would lose it.
Yeah, it was. And those situations, those situations are when you feel like, oh, it's all worth it, right? It's all coming together.
Totally. And then you feel like they see you, it's like we're not always sure how we're showing up to our kids, specifically when we're doing a lot of stuff out in the world. And, and it's like you always got to be in the practice. Well, I always be in the practice of not letting the guilt sneak up, like all of those things, but, yeah, I think it's really, when you hear the payoff and you see that there's something that's happening and them watching you, it's just such a magical thing.
Oh, so magical.
So cool. Well, I wanted to ask you too, because I've been asking the women in the interviews this, like, how would you define leadership? Because this word I find can be really scary for women. I think sometimes it repels a lot of people. But the way I learned leadership is, bottom line, you're building trust. You're being someone who's trustworthy. You're somebody that people can look to and say, like, yeah, I like what they're up to, So I'm really curious on your end, like, how would you define leadership?
That is a great question. From a young age, I seem to even unconsciously step into positions where they were like, here, you take the leadership position. So I may be new to the group, and so I have reflected a lot on this topic, mostly because it was kind of handed to me, and I'm like, okay, well, this is a huge responsibility. What do I need to do with this now? Kind of thing. And for me, a huge part of it is I always come back to, well, in that time when I was really young, some experiences I had, I was thinking that leadership was like you come in and you're the boss, and whatever you say, that's just everybody just listens, right? Because a lot of times that actually did happen for me. just naturally. Like, oh, okay, well, that's what she said. Okay, we're all going to do that. But every now and then, that's not necessarily effective leadership. So every now and then, and as I kind of grew in my own leadership, was like, oh, it's really important to listen to everybody's feedback, right? That was part of my area of improvement. It didn't really come naturally to me because I was saying, we're gonna hit this target, and we're like, I was saying as, okay, and I'm still saying it as leadership, that we're all going in this vehicle together. Who is defining this vehicle? If I'm the leader here, I'm defining what the vehicle looks like. I'm deciding, I'm effectively communicating to everybody, this is how we're going to all get there. This is all of our roles within this of how we can get there. This is where we're going. And then within that, something that I have incorporated, I guess as a teenager, I really learned this, to then ask, hey, how do you guys feel about this? Like, that's an effective leader too. And then shutting up and listening to what everybody feels, which is really hard for a lot of us a lot of times as perfectionists and really strong leaders. Receive everybody's feedback, take it, listen, understand the psychology of all of it, and then come together again and say, okay, now with everybody, these are the roles of everybody in this. This is how we're all positively affecting each other. And this is where we're all going. This is how we're going to get there. How does everybody feel now after you've incorporated everything in? Or that's how I lead my team. Like, we're all a family. We all need to openly, transparently talk about our feelings, and also, are we all getting there in the most effective way? And being vulnerable. I'm not perfect. I may not have seen this one detail over here that one of my teammates sees, and I need to be open and vulnerable enough to say, oh shit, I cuss sometimes, but like, oh shit, I didn't see that. And I'm so thankful. I'm so thankful that you were able. How I view leadership too is admitting again that we have blind spots. These are my areas of improvement. I may not always be perfect on these. And same thing in parenting too. I tell my daughter all the time, I'm not perfect. I screwed up on that. I'm sorry. I did really try hard to keep my composure, but maybe, I could have done better. I could have said this, and I didn't say that. I'll do better next time. And then also, like, giving her the permission. When you do that and you're vulnerable, you give everybody else the permission to be transparent with you, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's beautiful. I think, being the vehicle and the vessel, that's kind of what I was hearing in that. It's just like, how can I be the vehicle? And just being the human, we were talking about this Lex yesterday, like being in the muck and really never coming across as like, like I'm not allowed to make mistakes, so therefore neither are you. I mean, I think sometimes staff and kids like can feel that way. It's like, you're not allowed to make mistakes. I mean, funny story the other day, my son was like playing with something, and he just kind of put it together, and he couldn't do it, and he goes, fuck it. And I was like, oh my god, you too! That's my fault. But I was like, at the same time, it's kind of like I had to laugh at it, because like most of the time when the moments where I surrender with my son, that's what I say. Like, I don't mean to, but I have such a potty mouth, I'll be out there with him, I'll be trying to put his shirt on, and he'll be fighting me, and I'll say, fuck it. And like, all of a sudden, he's like, fuck it. I'm like, oh my god. Wow. But yeah, but I just think the human aspect is so important. And I think, that's what, to me, again, it comes back to trust. And also just not being that, like, person out in front. I remember when I did this team building exercise when I was doing the Art of Leadership Mastery program with Scott Cody, head for. And we did this game where you had to put something together. It's hard to explain, but there was like 7 people on each team, and it was like really like a riddle, And I noticed that like when I would chime in, I would be very bossy, and nobody would listen to me. And I was like, why are people listening to what I have to say? And I was just so offended. Of course, this is why Scott sets all this up, right? Because they're all peers. But like Then I realized that because I came across bossy, I would silence myself. Because I was like, oh, well, now I'm like the bossy bitch, and I'm not going to leave. So I would take myself out of the game. And one thing that, like, looking back on that retrospectively, or retroactively, I guess one thing I kind of wish I had the leadership presence to do at the time is to say, hey, guys, I have something to help with, but I don't know how to say it without being bossy. That's my leadership edge right now, but I really want to help, you know? And, like, I don't know how to do that effectively, but I have some ideas, you know? And I think when you can be in that place as a human wanting to lead and allowing yourself to, like, really just say, like, hey, man, like, my leadership feels, you know, like, it needs some work, but I have something to give, because people will connect to the thing you have to give.
Oh, yeah.
They're like, oh, okay, you're not trying to be like the know-it-all or the person who has it all together in the group. You actually are concerned with the good of all. And I think that's like a beautiful piece of leadership.
It is so beautiful. It is so beautiful. I completely relate to the story that you shared. I've been through that same kind of stage where it's like I don't want to overshadow anybody here, so I'm gonna not say anything.
Talk to me about that. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
As a woman, man, I find that one to be such a clincher for so many females that I know.
Yeah, and I'm in tech too. So like my last corporate job when I was in tech, I was the only woman in the whole company.
Wow.
I worked on a team of 5 other software developers, and they were primarily senior. I'm like, I'd say junior, senior right now. I'm almost senior, but I'm not gonna maybe I'm humble, but I'm not calling myself senior. But most of them are also senior on top of that. And then there was 50 others in the same facility, and being, like I said, the only woman. I noticed that I was sometimes overly agreeing when we were in meetings, and I wasn't wanting to I guess disagree or say something because I was afraid of how it was going to be received, or maybe even I was going to be talked over, and and so sometimes I wouldn't say anything, and then I would be reflecting on that, like, that's not me. I'm not really like that. Why am I not saying anything? I can say something tomorrow. I'll say something tomorrow. And I started to get better at it when I was more aware of it. And I started to be aware, too, that I don't feel the same way when I'm in a group of all women. I tend to be more of the alpha female when I'm with all women, and like taking the leadership position. And in a feminine way, not necessarily masculine, like in a very feminine alpha female way, and compassionate, empathetic, and like including everybody in and listening to everybody, giving everybody a chance to talk. But I noticed when I was in that corporate environment with all men, sometimes there was like this real direct way of communicating, trying to wrap up like how I learned how to deal with that in that environment. Was that there was just really direct, fast way of communicating with no emotions in it. I wasn't really used to doing that, so I started to learn that if I communicated in the same way, that I was very well received, and I was not overshadowing anybody. I was not looked over. I was listened to, and I was well received. So I started adapting my communication style. Like one morning, very early in the morning, I used to get to work early, and I was usually the last one to leave. It's kind of like this overachiever thing, where like at some point I realized that I can't be doing this for myself again, like putting this many hours into my own company, right? So that was kind of an epiphany for myself. But really early in the morning, I got to work, and there's 2 of my coworkers were there on the team already, and I had been working on a really difficult project for the last 2 weeks, and one of the CEOs told me that I needed to work on it a little bit longer because he added some things to the project. So that it was kind of a project mostly for one of the CEOs to help him offload some of his responsibilities. I was doing a lot of coding and automation. So it was going to offload 12 manual things that the CEO needed to do that he had been doing like the last 10 years. So it was a huge project and really huge benefit for him. But it took me away from the team, that I wasn't able to work on a project for the team at that time. And one of the team members said to me, oh, yeah, all you do is just do that project with the CEO, and you're not even working with us right now. And I said, that's not all I'm doing. I'm also working on that. And then I came in early to try to get started on the next project to work on with you guys. But for me, I felt like I was being a bossy bitch, like the way I said it, because it was very direct. Like I was just like, no, that's not all I've been doing. You can't throw me under the bus right now. You're done having that attitude with me. And it was amazing how they responded. Everyone that was there, they were like, oh, really? Oh, okay. I didn't know you were doing like that. And like their whole tone just changed.
That's really interesting. So interesting. You know, hi Bree. Bree's one of my
Hi Bree. Hi Elizabeth.
So yeah, that's a really interesting thing you brought up, because it's really funny, men and women working together, because you know, it's just women, it's a particular way. When it's just men, it's a particular way. And I know, because my husband's like super, you know, like he's a man's man. He's a beautiful feminine side. But he, you know, like when he's talking to me, when we're doing business in the household, and he's like, Kari, I just need you to be like, I guess like I just need you to be direct.
Yeah.
Like I just need you to tell me like what you need, like what's a thing that needs to happen, versus like, you know, all the emotion around, you know. So I know that's just something, that's just like the way they operate, because if you go back to like hunter-gatherer time, when they're out there hunting, they don't have time to have a conversation about the tiger coming. They're just like, hey, tiger coming, move, you know. And that DNA is literally still in our brain, just like our gatherer is still in our DNA, you know. It's really interesting. So it's fascinating how we come to, like, there's been so much conversation, of course, for years, you know, about how we've had to adapt to that male way of being. And even with the males, you know, like, I'm just seeing such a shift in this. It's still happening, but I think especially this is one reason I see so many women starting their own businesses, because they're kind of like, I don't really want to do everything on everyone else's pace. I want to do it on mine. And I want it to be from like my heart, and I want something that I am actually enjoying. And I think that's one of the reasons I love coaching moms, is because like I like to help them get into that space instead of feeling like they have to keep up, catch up, you know.
Oh yeah.
Not that they can't be in a space with men and have it be great, but it requires just requires a different context, a different state of mind, and you have to be so picky about what company you do work for. You know, like I worked for the David Allen company in the past, which they're fabulous, and they were like very feminine as far as like how they ran meetings, everything. I love it. So yeah, it's just interesting. So tell me now, you know, owning your own business, how do you, like, what are the things you really pride yourself on as far as how you run your team? You know, we were in the title, it was about like something bigger than ourselves. How do you bring that sort of like ethereal element into the way you lead in your work?
Yeah, with really all having the same intention, that our goal is to really make the person that we're building the online presence for, make their life better, basically easier, better. They're going to have more freedom, be able to work from anywhere. They are really, another huge part of it too is, are we really transmuting their energy to the online space? Because that's usually where a lot of entrepreneurs our clients are having a very difficult time, or they've had the difficult time in the past. Whereas you go on someone's website or their Facebook and you're like, that's not the same person I met. Like they're just totally doing themselves an injustice. They have so much more potential. So really tapping into their energy and their true potential, and thank you, Elizabeth, for the hearts, and like transmuting their energy into that online space. So then they can, the other layer of that, then they're attracting millions, more and more people building their tribe. So really all of the team having the family and tribe atmosphere, that we all are working towards the same intention for our clients. Are we focused? What are we focused on? That's our true focus, is taking their energy and transmuting that online, and using our gifts that we have to help them to do that. So then they don't have to worry about it. They're out there speaking on stages and doing retreats, doing live events, and entertaining. Like we went to a live event yesterday with a a potential client, and that she came to our live event in Austin recently. So just always connecting. We're always all connecting, and like letting people, like you were saying, in the feminine, the really feminine energy especially. We do have male clients too. And one of our male clients said he's taking a break to go and hunt and collect mushrooms in the woods. And that's like really grounding for him, and him like tapping back into his true masculine energy. So like really letting people be in their full energy in their day-to-day life, and that they're not really worrying about their tech or their online presence, because they know that we have that covered. So it's allowing them a lot more freedom.
Nice. Yeah, so really being part of their vision and seeing that through for them so that they can let go. And it's kind of like you're bringing in the feminine energy for them, because they're allowing themselves to like release it. And
totally.
I guess sometimes like if my masculine comes in, it's all about controlling and holding on and making sure I do it all myself. And all those things. So.
It is. I have ran into, not that I've ran into that, but I have helped clients to work through some resistance on that. I definitely relate. And of course, myself, it's still a challenge to delegate. I need to check in with myself. Like right now, one of my teammates and I, my soulmate teammates, or they're all soulmates. One of my teammates and I are working on a really huge project. And I keep checking in with myself. Why do I want to keep emailing him, right? Like, I know that he's got it. I keep wanting to like just check in. Hey, how's everything going? But that's me and my area of improvement that I have, and I stop myself and check in. Like, we have a meeting. Everything's cool, Allison. You know he's an expert. Just calm down.
Yeah. Yeah, I just hired my first staff member, and I'm like watching myself and just saying like, oh, I've been literally asking her like, please send me your standards. Tell me your boundaries. I need to know them, because I need to check myself. So, Katika, if you're listening, I absolutely love you. You're an angel. But yeah, she's totally go with the flow. I met her at a female entrepreneurial mastermind, that's like the Lucius thing that Lexi leads. So, we have that nice background where we're just like collaborative and compassionate with each other. But it is such a big piece, is that letting go. I think that's a big part of the feminine, especially as a mom, right? Because when you become a mom and you're building a business as a mom, you have to ask for help. You have to release them. You have to be away from them. You have to do it. And if you can't let go of that, then either you're going to be at work feeling guilty all day,
yes,
or you're not going to succeed, because you can't let that piece go. That guilt will overcome you or overwhelm you, or and that's something I love helping moms with, is like getting out of that mindset of we're damaged. With the fact, if it's in your heart to build it, then you will build it.
Yes.
The kids will be fine. They'll be okay. And you can create standards around how you want to be with them while you're doing it.
Yeah, and a story that came to mind when you were talking also was that in my first company, it was really hard for me to be present, because I was still getting used to that feeling like I got to wear all these hats and not able to effectively communicate, of delegating some of those hats. So when I was with my daughter, I sometimes was not fully present with her. And she will like sometimes tap me on the shoulder and be like, "Mommy, are you here? Are you here? Mom, where are you? Are you here?" And it was like the God and universe way of reminding me I'm not present with her right now, and I gotta stop doing that shit, because that's not helping anybody. Me worrying all the time, me like constantly having mind racing, that's not helping anybody. So how can I get in control of that? And I started meditating, and then maybe writing down. I'll like write down a whole list and then be like, okay, it's written down, it'll all get done, and then now I'm present with her. I'm sure you work through with moms on all those kind of things, because it does more of a justice to all of us when we're present. So I'll always check in with myself. I am here. I'm like, I am here. I am present. And especially with her, and then her energy and her reaction to that, or everybody's energy and reaction to that is then they are in the present with you, and you're able to have so much more authentic relationships.
Yeah, I agree with that. Sorry, my phone just said it's running out of battery because I had to switch to my phone since
Do,
this line was over.
do you have a charger?
Yeah, I borrowed one, but it's a little weird. It's okay. We have to wrap it up soon anyway. But I love where this just led though because it's so good as far as just like like our kids reminding us. I mean, that's one thing I love about being like a female entrepreneur with a child.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people can speak about just the challenges of it, but like the blessings of it is that we do get that little being at home that takes us out of work if we're conscious enough to allow them to catch us. Because sometimes, one of the things I really appreciate about my mom's, going back to our being human stories, is she has admitted to me, like, now that I'm a mom, like, hey, don't do what I did. Because, like, I wasn't. Like, I would be in the house, but I would not be present with you. And growing up, there were some things around my mom where I felt like she was, like, a workaholic and stuff. I mean, my mom's amazing, and I just totally get her so many ups. But, there were those thoughts like, oh, I never watched art because, like, my mom doesn't get to be around as much. But, looking back, she actually was there. She was at home. But she just was, like, work, she couldn't put it together. And so that's something I appreciated that she shared with me. It's like, oh, thank you for saying that, because it's not so much about the being gone. It's about when you're home. Are you there?
Yes.
Are you with them?
Yeah.
Are you with yourself? Like, even if you don't have kids, it's like, can you put that down? Can you get present again with, like, what else is happening in your life so that, like, the service doesn't consume you? It supports you being happy and joyful about the things that are already right now. Right?
Yes, it's very challenging for a lot of us, especially the overachievers and perfectionists.
Yeah. And I find with leadership, there's always at least a little skosh of that happens.
Yeah.
So yeah, awesome. So any final words, Allison? Like, I love what you shared today. It was just such a sweet share of like how you look at your life, your business, and how you partner with your daughter to make these things happen. Are you a single mom? I don't know.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
God, what a badass you are.
Oh,
I have to tell
thank you.
half of my last Empowered Mothers class, Empowered Mothers Alliance class, they were all, like, half of them were single moms.
Wow,
and
that's phenomenal.
Like, so inspired because they're hungrier. Like, I always think, like, God, how could I do this by myself? I could barely do it with my husband. But, like, I see these women show up and they inspire the hell out of me. And
Yeah.
I just can't believe I give you so much credit, because it's another layer. It's like a whole other layer of needing to negotiate that with your kid and not be in the story that, oh, I can't go after what I want because it's just me or whatever. So I really admire you for that.
Oh, thank you. Well, I do hold the space for a future husband. I'm holding that space. That's a sacred space. and
yeah,
I have
a lucky guy.
Oh, thank you. I wanted to share a gold nugget that one of my good friends and I were talking about today. She's actually here right now, and we were talking about how you you can't give up on your child. That it's like sometimes you may feel that they're not listening, and especially when it comes to like what we were talking about with having your own company, that it takes a lot of patience from us to try to teach them, but that eventually they will learn, and you can't give up. So like an example of that, my daughter was helping me at an event, and she didn't do the best job the first live event. I'll be completely honest. I was a little upset because I had taken the time to talk with her, but I really wanted her to be included in it. I wanted her to be excited to be included in it and be able to see that see her mom in this role, right? It's such a huge advantage for her to learn from. And she just didn't seem to get the impact at the first one. And then I expressed how I felt to her. I didn't give up. So like, really don't give up. That the first time it may not go over the way that you think it'll go over. Your kids may not understand. And then the second time it was a little better. She seemed to get it. And then the third time, she's like the best helper that I can even pay. Like there's nothing that I can even pay her about the type of caring and willingness, empathetic, compassion, amazingness that she brings to it, and everybody is like, wow, she really wants to be here, as opposed to the first time. And I was unwilling. I have a relentless unwillingness to give up on anything, really. Honestly, it's very hard for me to give up, but especially on my own child, that you have to continue to be compassionate with them and keep sharing how you feel, keep being vulnerable, and eventually they will get it. And when it does click and you're like, oh, it was all worth it. And if you never try from the beginning to teach them that, you'll never get to reap that reward or see that benefit towards the end. And like you were saying, it's easier somewhat to kind of keep them compartmentalized. Oh, thank you. My friend just gave me some coffee. it's easier to, like you were saying with the example that you saw, to keep it compartmentalized. Like, over here is my kid, and then I'm gonna go be with them, and then over here is my work life. But for me, I was like, that shit's never gonna work for me. I gotta figure out a new strategy because I want her there. I so want her involved, and I know maybe I'm like so passionate about this. I'm so passionate about this, but like not giving up on including your kids into what you're doing, because eventually they will get it. They will see the vision. They will understand, and they need to be part of the vision. If you're doing this all for them, like you're doing a lot of it for them, they need to get it. You know? Yeah, like, right? I feel that in my heart space. And like my daughter will tell her friends, oh yeah, my mom's working right now and she can put a picture anywhere on the internet. Oh, yeah. There's some little things like that. Like, oh, that's how she sees what I do. Oh.
She's proud of you. Yeah. Oh, thank you for sharing that. That was so special. You know, thank you for everything today, Allison, because I think, you know, out of all the interviews today, like, you really covered motherhood a lot.
Aww.
And I appreciate it. I didn't get to cover that as much as the other two. And I feel like what you shared was just really, really beautiful. And I love what we ended on here. Like, bringing your kids into your vision. Yes. That is awesome. For me, that's totally in sync with, like, being a feminine leader as a male or a female. You know, like, my husband does such heart-centered work as well. You know, he mentors men and helps them become men. And God, like, my son's going to have a father like that. And I never want him to look at my husband, Jenny, and say, like, oh, like, you're just doing that for them, but you don't have time for me. You know, like, be another, like, rebellious son. I want him to be in on that, you know, and be like, whoa, I can just do this as dad, and, like, I can show these men something about me that's special that might affect them, like, so I can take that piece more than anything that you said away from myself. So thank you. I love that. I'm going to hold that with me so I can continue through my business. So,
it is worth it. It's worth it.
Yeah. Beautiful. Well, awesome, Allison. Thank you for being here with me today, and thank you for, you know, being such a great model of leadership. It's so important for us to have the women out there who have single moms, especially, who have kids and are killing it. And I would love for you to post in the comments below, just like a link to your podcast.
Okay.
And to your website, so we can find out more about you and what you do and all this beautiful work that you've been talking about today.
Thank you, Kari. I receive all of that. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, my pleasure, you guys. Or you guys. My pleasure, Allison. And if you guys haven't gotten to see all of the other interviews, please do. All three of them were so unique and so awesome. So I'm really grateful to you and Alexi and Saniva, who all just brought their heart. So thank you. Oh, I froze. Okay. All right, Allison, I'm taking you off. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, bye.
Bye.